In this previous video, we had a look at the initial fault codes in this DAF XF and it wasn't looking too good. With what seemed to be massive amounts of pressure in the coolant system, the engine kicking back when turning over, and possible oil pressure issues, not to mention camshaft and crankshaft synchronization errors, everyone seems to think we have issues with the camshaft, the crankshaft, the head gasket, or it's an internal issue. Now, I'm going to put some of these theories to the test and get to the bottom of the fault. Right, we'll get our VCI plugged into this and we'll try and identify which cylinder is down, or why it won't start, or why is the battery flat. Right, is this Euro 6? No. Model year 17 onwards. And then we'll go with main system scan. So what we'll try and do now is identify if this is a cylinder issue by carrying out a compression test. So we'll go to cylinder compression. Hopefully this won't cause any more issues with the engine. But we're not allowed errors in the camshaft or the crankshaft sensor. Right, okay. So I'll just clear the fault codes out of this from before. That's done. And then what we're going to do now is carry out a compression test, Russell. Compression test. From this, we can investigate any negative values. So it's in neutral. Everything else is happy. Activate the starter motor until the test finishes. Okay then. Stop cranking the engine, do not turn off the ignition. So we need to investigate the lowest values. Cylinder 6 being -6% and cylinder 2 being -6% as well. But on the flip side of that, we've got acceleration. So cylinder 1 and cylinder 5 are also the quickest. As you can see from the bar graph, cylinders 2 and 6 are the worst here at over -5%. If we look at the result interpretation, correct operation of the engine should be 0. Incorrect operation is anything over -2%. Percentage values lower than 0 indicate that there is a compression loss on that cylinder with said value. So 2 and 6, we've got problems. Yeah. It's very clean in here. Very clean.
Anything wrong that we broke is the bloody bit of that plastic put in yesterday.
Oh, aye.
The old push rods in sequence.
2 and 5. So we're back on now with this MX-30 model year 17 that won't start. We noticed that we had a camshaft crankshaft synchronization issue last time. So what we're going to do now is we've just cleared the fault codes out of it. We'll go to measurements, measurement selection. And what we'll do is we'll check that the crankshaft is synchronizing to the camshaft. So we've got synchronization between the camshaft and the crankshaft. It's currently not synchronized. What happens when we turn it over? Well, it's synchronized, isn't it? So we know that's okay. So what we're going to do now is go into one of my custom presets here, which is starting. Now, this has some various sensory data here, which we'll just select. We've got engine speed, low pressure fuel circuit, fuel pressure on the rail, synchronization between camshaft and crankshaft, and the pressure for the exhaust gases before the turbine. So what we'll do now is we will start the truck and see what happens. If I can find the key. Now we know we've got an issue with the fuel pressure. What we'll do now is look at the fuel pressure on the rail real value and fuel pressure on the rail required value, and we'll just try and turn it over again and see what it does. So what we're going to do now is run an injection test during cranking. What this will do is shut the fuel pressure control valve and the injectors off, and it'll just activate the high pressure pumps, and this should bring the fuel pressure up to 600 bar if it's correct. So we'll do this now. Into system checks, and we're looking for a injection test during cranking. So as it says here, try and start the engine for a few seconds, 20 seconds. The pressure of the rail increases to 600 bar, and we can see where we go from here now. So let's see if this starts. Press continue. Press continue. We've met all the conditions. The initial conditions are not correct. What have I missed? Oh, the oil temperature. How do I warm the oil temperature up if it's not hot enough? So now we know we don't have enough fuel pressure in the fuel rail, and I can't run that injection test during cranking because it needs to be over 20 degrees for some stupid reason. I'll have to manually blank injectors and see if it's a stuck injector or a broken injector. Not the way I wanted to do it, but we'll go old school. So I've undone this. We're going to get this blank on there now. So now we've got injector number 1 blanked. Let's see if it starts. That's a no. Right, let's blank number 2. Is it number 2? Let's have a look. Right, try again. Cylinder number 2. Two is a no. What about number 3? Oof, you're hot. Hey, that's weird. That's crazy. Right, where's the temperature gun? Right, get a load of this. So that's my finger, but that's 1 fuel pipe. That's number 2 fuel pipe. Look at number 3. It's, what's that? 50 degrees, something like that. 40 degrees. Can you see that? That fuel pipe is red hot. And if we look at the other one next to it, see they're all cool. And then up here, nothing. But that fuel pipe is red hot. So let's get this off. Hopefully I won't get sprayed in the face with a load of diesel or something. Right, let's try and get this on here. If I can hold the pipe while it's that hot. So number 3's blanked now. Will it start? Oh dear. Oh dear. Let's run this again and you watch number 3. So now we know we've got an issue with number 3, blowing combustion gas through it. We'll hopefully get it out. I'm gonna have to get a crow's foot on that, I think. Right, we'll whip the injector clamp bolts out. So So that's the injector tube out now. We'll pull the injector itself. We'll put the old injector pull around it. I'm not going to bang on about it as I do in every fucking video. Oh shit. So there you go. The tips come off the injector. So somewhere inside this cylinder is half a tip. This engine will be junk now. Right, we'll see what damage has been done inside the cylinder. Hopefully this will fit through the injector hole and not get stuck. Just won't fit. Can we bump the brightness up? No, that's it. Well, that piston round that top crown there looks absolutely battered. If you think of the damage that's done to the cylinder in the head and the damage it's done to the piston and possibly the liner as well, you'd have to put a new head on it, a new piston in it and a new liner. Now, is it worth more to you doing that, or is it worth more to you in bits? What do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll try and... I could do with seeing it better, to be honest, but that's such a shame. With the fault now identified, Andrew wanted to see if we had any other issues with this MX-13 engine, so in went an injector that wasn't split in half.
Well, that was the fault, wasn't it? Well, what can I say? What a quality injector.
Right, so this is the one we've got with a fuel fault. We'll get jaltest plugged in the passenger side now. We'll get this plugged in. How are we looking? Like the ignition needs to be on. Let's get our ignition on and we'll get on jaltest and see what's going on with this fuel system. So again, auto VIN identification. So we want DAF Euro 6 and we want engine, which is PCI. We'll go into PCI now and we'll go fault code reading, and we've got a massive list of faults. But the ones we've got here that are an issue are pressure control of the injection rail and magnetic valve unit pump, valid data but above normal operating range. We need some dates on this. Now, in an attempt to rectify the situation, the customer's fitted a new fuel pressure control valve, but he hasn't calibrated it yet, so we'll reset the rail pressure control valve. It has been replaced, so that's why we're performing the reset. This process is now finished. We'll cycle the ignition. And what we'll do now is get the truck up to operating temperature, and then we can perform our diagnostics on the fuel system. So I'd say we're up to temperature now. We'll knock this off and we'll run a leak off test. So we'll go into system checks, high pressure circuit, return on the fuel injectors, and from here we can then see if this has made a difference by changing the fuel pressure control valve. We'll go to all cylinders working. So it's asking us to start the truck now, which we will do. And now we're looking at this correctional value to ensure that it's under 30%. And that would say that the fuel pressure control valve made a difference because it was over 30% last time. Well, we've had a 20% reduction, if not more, in the correctional value on that. I think what I'll suggest Andrew does now is put some fuel system cleaner through the fuel system, see if we can remove some soft deposits in the injectors and get this down lower. If it doesn't come down anymore, I think we'll be putting injectors in this. So that's where we'll go with it now, I think. So Andrew's going to get some stuff to do a fuel system flush on this. Hopefully that will remove any soft deposits in the injectors and bring that correctional value down even further. That's another suck it and see. So we'll go on to the next truck. So we've got a DAF CF Tipper, Euro 6, possible AdBlue fault. Right, let's see what's going on here. Shift your driver's card. What we got? Nothing with the key on. Let's get jaltest plugged in. Are you gonna go in there, right? Everything's working there. Is Euro 6, and the driver's saying he has exhaust system malfunction. So we're going to fault code reading. As you can see, we've got AdBlue pressure sensor, dosing module abnormal pressure. It's all related to pressure basically. So let's run a test on it. So we'll jump into system checks, AdBlue metering, prime the system. Let's see if we can find a leak. Yes, test state inactive, start. So we should see 9 bar. So it's doing 3.4.5.6. Very, very slow. Very slow. Are you going to maintain this? Can we get this in here? You're going to fit. Let's try this one. Well, this looks original. So either the pressure sensor's faulty, or the motor in here that makes the pressure is faulty. Yeah. Now I've checked to see if the AdBlue's flowing to the injector there, and it is. Yeah. If I was going to change something, I'd be changing this AdBlue pump here. Well, things have escalated. One AdBlue pump. So if we just get these screws out this cover. You £1,000,000, the seal's gone. Right, there we go. See in there? See all this AdBlue? There? The diaphragm seal's gone inside this pump. So that's your pressure loss. And this pump is ancient anyway. So let's get a new one. So that's the new AdBlue pump fitted. We'll put some cable ties on this now. Oh, covers are back on, bolts in, cable tied, pumps on. Let's try and build some pressure. Right, we'll go into Antipollution. So I'll clear these faults out of it now. We'll prime this AdBlue system. Prime the AdBlue dosing system. Start. Yeah, this AdBlue dosing valve's flashing green now, and it's metering AdBlue, which means it's pumping AdBlue. And both your knock sensors are on, so it's more than happy. Well, that's another few trucks identified and fixed for this week's video. If you want to see more from me, here's last week's video, and as always, hit the like button if you thought this was a good video. If you're not subscribed, why not? And I'll see you in the comments down below.